I was recently asked what my thoughts were on the riots in America. I don't have any thoughts on the events that are taking place in America. Or maybe I don't care to share any thoughts that I have. I'm really struggling to conceptualize the events that are taking place in America because there are so many issues that I and people like me face over here. We have issues that are unique to us, issues that we see every day, issues that we have come to live with and navigate because we identify as black. To identify as black is to live a double life. It's a speaking of two languages. See, we speak the language of those who have systematically oppressed us. We speak it fluently because the consequences of speaking freely were beaten into us, whilst our own languages were beaten out of us. We were stripped of our families, our true religions, our real culture, our self-respect, any form of dignity and identity that we had once. We exist within systems that have been built against us, systems that were created to demean and discredit us, systems, policies and institutions that constantly crush us as we strive to survive. But you don't see it, and you struggle to understand it because you don't identify as black. And although I speak your language, you don't understand what I'm saying or where it's coming from. We are expected to be happy, but if we show passion, we are deemed frightful and aggressive. And if we question, we are seen as being a problem, having chips on our shoulders, and ungrateful of the fact that we are here in big old England, as opposed to running around naked in some jungle somewhere. You don't like it when we talk about slavery or the injustices that we face in the UK. Your back goes up, you glaze over, you get defensive, you change the subject. We've done it in conversations. I've seen you do it. Maybe you feel guilty and you don't want to be reminded of the actions of your ancestors. This means that we have to be careful not to upset you because your tears are worth more than ours. Although my granddad stood an arm's distance from Winston Churchill when he came to Jamaica and invited us to come over to the UK, the motherland. And although we did your dirty work, your employment is seen as more necessary than ours. You are given priority over us. And our discomfort is not your problem. If you look back on your thoroughly documented history, it's clear to see that many of your ancestors were the cause of our hardship, and you still benefit from their actions today. You're blind to it though, and you don't see how yourselves have become enslaved. So many of your great heroes had a personal hand in the oppression of my ancestors, of people who look like me. And great statues are erected for these great and historical men who look like you. But why are we viewed so badly, so low? Is it because we're black? Why is there so much fear of us? And why do you feel so threatened by us? There are so many more white people in England than black. And You glorify your killer kings and queens who have violently raped, killed, maimed and plundered to make this oh so great Britain rich. Many of our artifacts sit dormant in your museums. You have our riches on your walls. You display our greatness, and you don't give us the credit. How many times have you personally been attacked by a black person? When was the last time you were personally attacked by a black person? When were you last verbally attacked by a black person? How many of you are constantly in contact with black people? What do you really know about black people? Do they matter to you? Many of you will say, but I've got black friends. To many of you, I'm your only black friend. We have been taught everything about you. And I can answer each and every one of those questions that I just asked. But the question that I want to ask is, can you? Let's look at this modern day. Do your research. Look at the recent media. Did Meghan Markle really deserve the abuse that she received? Are black people shown positively and fairly in society? Did your parents or your grandparents tell you that black people were bad? Examine the true source of your fears. Why do we riot? Because your knee is in our necks. Yes, in the UK too. For us to be able to breathe, we need for you to dismantle your systems, because they are killing us and they are killing our children. And yes, everything that I'm saying can be proved. It's founded, it's all documented in your own academia. But people, black people, are killing other black people. I hear you say it. And yes, it's real. Our oppression, our hopeless state is real. And so we turn on ourselves. Yes, we've turned on each other because we have internalized your hatred and your fear. Believing the reality of it, we have grown to hate what we see. In our hearts, we are love. But our loving ourselves is something that you fear. Maybe because we might be made stronger and empowered. We might take over and then all control will be lost. Like you, and for so long, we have thought that we were the problem. And out of our own frustration, we have attacked ourselves. I mean, it couldn't be you that's the problem because the system works for you, so it must be us, right? We can't beat the shit out of you. And we don't want to. That's life in prison. And many of my brothers across the world are serving sentences for less. We can't attack your systems. They have no face and no fair accountability. They change the constraints to suit the system, to keep it on top, to keep us below. And so we attack ourselves. In the UK, we are not fairly represented. We are discriminated against. And we have lost loved ones due to the environment in which we exist. We have very little as a people. We are prevented from advancing. And we don't have our own, so we have to mix with you. We have since come to eat your food and wear your clothes, and we are not comfortable. We are not comfortable with our state as a people, and we are not comfortable when you cross the road and clutch onto your bags with an imagined fear that we're coming to get you. We are not comfortable when you question our hair. We are not comfortable with your little quips and jokes. Or when you tell us that you don't see colour. No, we're not comfortable with that, because every damn day, we see yours. Really, really, you don't have anything that we want or that we need to attack you for. If you look back on your great history, you'll see that it is you that has systematically attacked us, and yet you fear us. Until you change your systems of education, your systems of banking, your methods of medical treatment, and the religious systems, and your media, a media that reinforces inequality, we will continue with your knees in our necks. We are unique. Our unique music, our unique speech, our unique style, and our authentic dress, hair, and power is used against us, and then emulated by people who manipulate our natural ways and make their millions off our backs. But this has been going on for a good 500 plus years, and you don't see it. And still, we are expected to smile without question. You may feel you know me. No doubt you've seen me smile. I speak to you in your language, but I also speak another language, one that you will never be able to understand, because you see from privileged eyes and the perspective of white skin. The very classification of one's hue was created by you to elevate you over all. But times are changing. The fact that I dare post this video without the fear of your discomfort proves it, because your eyes are now being opened to the injustices that you've slept through. All that you thought was normal and real is about to be turned on its head. And so maybe then, yeah, maybe you or your kids or your grandchildren or your great-grandchildren in years to come, maybe at that point there will be some understanding of what I have said here. The alternative is to unfriend me, unfollow me, and say I'm chatting shit. But in your heart, you know that I'm right.